Hey, it's the Midnight Raven, and today I just wanted to do a little chitty chat. I want to make a few comments on a video or a live stream, if you want to call it, made by Coach Eli. You know, the love guru himself. So I've just spent the last hour watching Eli's dating ideas and how you can date women and get women and, lure them in because you want that poo nanny, you know. I've always had an issue with his dating ideas, his dating tips. Right from the start, his first idea, let's just break it down into sections. So the first idea is that you never give your number to a woman, you always get hers. I don't understand that. He doesn't like the idea of talking through this like phone app thing, which is on the dating website. And he's like, no, if the woman doesn't trust you, there's no point. So when you ask for her number and she's like, no, I'm not quite comfortable. We've only been chatting for a bit. I don't want to give you my number. And then he just sacks her off. And I'm like, what the actual? Why didn't you give her your number and say, look, if you fancy a chat sometime, here's my number? Why is it always the woman that's got to throw herself at the man? Why is that? Why is it always shit testing women? Why is it if the woman doesn't give you her number, oh, she's too cautious, oh, she's too scared, we sack her off? What if you got the balls and gave your number to the woman and said, look, if you fancy a call, I'm free at these times, the ball's in your court? Why is it always the woman that he says, well, the woman wouldn't give me her number, so that's it. She's obviously not interested. You also didn't give your number to her. You didn't give the woman even a chance at that point. So going from that to then having a telephone call, which I don't know, I hate sitting on a phone for hours at a time. I'd rather talk in person. Talking to a screen. Maybe you could FaceTime. A lot of people don't FaceTime straight away because they don't want to be judged on their appearances, because some people, let's not beat around the bush, aren't exactly like a 10 out of 10, and that some people would love it if you loved their personality first. Me personally, I like a bit of both. I like a bit of personality, and I do like someone to be physically attracted or attractable to me before I spend like a lot of time on them, because if I don't feel like I'm attracted to them, then there's going to be nothing in it more than just maybe a chit chat. So the phone call, or setting up a phone call, scheduling a time, it sounds too corporate. It's too meeting. Like, I'm going to schedule a call for 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's like you're booking the woman in for an appointment, not just phoning up saying, hey, are you free to chat for a bit, and keeping it casual. It's more structured, organized. And that to me isn't a date. That's more like a business meeting. Then you get to maybe arranging to meet up. So you've done the hard pitch, you've arranged to meet up. The meeting up part bothers me as well. Eli's idea of meeting up is to meet them in a car park and have a chat in the car. Now, I don't know about you, but modern day women aren't just randomly getting into people's cars. Ted Bundy springs to mind. If you don't know who Ted Bundy is, he is a serial killer who preyed on the goodness of women who he managed to get back to their cars. Then he took them away and murdered them. Car parks are a hazard for any person. Man, woman, child, I don't trust car parks. Meeting a guy in the dead of night in a car park, absolutely not. I don't know any sane woman that would do it. I mean, there is a truck stuck behind my house, and if a guy wanted to meet 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night in that car park, and it's behind my house, I still wouldn't do it. You have to be safe. Now, Eli's idea is that if you date a woman and you go on a first date, don't spend money on her. No coffee, no dinner, no nothing. But what is that telling a woman? She's not even worth a cup of coffee, but you want the woman to think you're worth her time by meeting you. When you can't spring for a coffee, You're just showing a woman that you literally do not care about anything unless you're getting some poontang. That's what you're there for. You're not there to talk to her. You're not there to hang out and find out who she is and have a chat. You're literally there to find chemistry and find out if she wants to sleep with you. Me personally, if I go on a date with a guy, we're grabbing a cup of coffee, we're going to the pub for a drink. You don't necessarily have to eat, because I find if you eat, you're then stuck in a situation for a longer period of time. But I do think it takes the edge off going to a sociable place, a bar, a coffee shop, wherever, having a drink, whether you buy it or they buy it, or you even buy your own. No one says you have to buy the other person's drink. If you go up to the thing and you're like, should we just get our own, or do you want me to pay for yours? And they say, no, it's all right, I'll get my own. There's an option there. I don't necessarily assume a man's going to pay for my drink just because I go to a bar with him. That's just stupid. So once you get a cup of coffee and that, you can sit down and have a chat. And then if you want to carry things on and say, hey, do you fancy go getting some lunch? You can go get some lunch. If you're not really feeling it, you can dip out at that point. If you then want to go to each other's houses, once you've been with the guy for maybe an hour or two having a cup of coffee and that, then maybe it's safer to go to their car, but make sure you go during the day. Make sure it's in a well-lit place, in a well-lit area. Maybe have an emergency contact with a friend or a get-out plan if things are uncomfortable. Have an emergency, text your friend. There's always a contingency plan for a woman. Women will go to the toilets and say, I'm just going to nip to the loo. They'll text their friend saying, look, it's not going well. We need to get out of this. Just text me in 10 minutes saying, look, there's an emergency. I've got to leave. And then it gives you a way of leaving. If he then offers to walk you to your car or offers you a lift, you just say, no, it's all right. I'll make my own way back. I've got to go to such and such. And you just leave. Women always have a contingency plan, and it is the best idea. I don't know about men, but women do. They have an emergency, a phone call, a person on standby. It's just common sense. And let's not just say that all men are like creepy and weird and serial killers and that. It's just common sense. Now, the issue I have is if you don't go for the cup of coffee and that, Eli's idea is to go to the car of the person that you literally have probably only spoken to maybe for an hour or two. You've never seen them in person unless you do a video call, and you want to sit in their car. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, the stranger danger kicks into effect. You could be raped, mugged, or murdered by getting an unknown man's car. Now, not all men are like that. You could go on a date with a guy, get in his car, be perfectly fine. Me, personally, never get in a car on a first date. Assess the guy, talk to him, hang him out. If he wants to walk you back to your car at the end of the night, let him walk you back to the car, go your separate ways. Do not get in the car on a first date. It's common sense. It's just common sense. You have to protect yourself. And it's not as Eli would call, well, she's just not interested in you. There's obviously no chemistry because she doesn't want to rip your clothes off. No, it's called being sensible. Because at the end of the day, numerous women have gone on Tinder and all these dating sites and got in these men's cars. They've been mugged, they've been assaulted, they've been murdered. You just got to be sensible. And a car park in the dead of night is just stupid. No dating expert is going to tell you to meet in Safeway car park in the dead of night to meet a man that you don't know. No dating person is ever going to tell you that in the history of the world. It's stupid. It's dangerous. It may be dangerous for the man. Let's not sugarcoat this. There was people recently that were using the dating sites to get a man to come and meet a woman in a car park. They got him in the car. She got in the car. He got in the car. And in the back seat was another guy with a gun. They put it to his head and they robbed him. So it isn't just dangerous for women getting into men's cars. It can be dangerous for men getting into women's cars. They put a gun to this guy's head and they robbed him. And they did this for ages. She was going on different sites and everything and meeting different men in parking lots and then robbing them. It isn't just dangerous for women, it's dangerous in general. Car parks are a hive of dangerous activity. They just are. And at night, they're just not good. It's just not the place you should be going to meet any strange person, day or night. Even during the day, there is nothing stopping you if you meet a guy in a car park and you get in his car that he doesn't assault you, kidnap you, murder you, or all of the above, men or women. When you meet somebody for the first time, the rules should be meet them in public, meet them in a well-lit area, meet them in a place you know, say in the town centre where you live or their town centre where you know somewhere. Always meet in a public place, a shopping mall, a cafe, a bar, a pub, a restaurant, somewhere where there's other people. Have a contingency plan like an emergency escape, an emergency number, get someone to call the restaurant you're at and fake an emergency. Always have a way home, have a taxi booked, have your own car, have someone pick you up. Always have a way of getting home. Don't just walk. Never walk. That leaves you open for to be stalked or followed. Always have a way home. And then if things don't go to plan and you get home and you're like, I'm just not feeling this guy, send a polite message saying, look, I just weren't feeling it, but I wish you well. And then either block them or delete them. And then if they try and message you again and you haven't blocked them, maybe just say, look, we had a good time. I'm just not that interested. If it comes to it, just block them and move on. Never take a first date to your house, because then if things do go a bit funny and they become a bit stalkerish or they keep harassing you and everything, never take them to your house on the first date. Never let them know where you live for at least, I would say, 3 dates, maybe 2 or 3 at most, before you then tell them where you live or bring them back to your house. Sometimes it's just common sense that can save you from like these situations. And having, as Eli call it, punani on the first night, any woman that gives out on the first night, it doesn't look good. Personally, wouldn't advise it. I mean, if you feel there's chemistry and you wanna, have relations, entirely up to you. Personally, I think it's better to know the person before you dive into that kind of thing. This whole, oh, she doesn't want to rip your clothes off in 30 seconds meeting you, she's not going to want to. Where did you get that from? Which fucking sex for dummies did you find that in? Women don't just throw themselves at men unnecessarily. They're not just going to jump your bones in like 30 seconds. Women talk to people, they suss them out, and then they make decisions. He makes women sound like airheads and that we're all just jumping men left, right, and centre like some sex craved women. I don't know what dating sites he were on. I know he met Dawn on Match. He also said that back in the day when he was doing the whole dating thing, to try and match with 100 women a day and have lots on the go. But then on the other hand, he's also saying that women have like all these backup plans and everything. And if she doesn't throw herself at you, then you're obviously not the man for her because she's got these other, people waiting in the wings. Eli was talking to like 10, 15, 20 women a day. He was doing exactly the same thing, but it's bad for a woman, but not bad for a man. Double standard springs to mind there. No woman is getting in your car and wanting to jump you in 30 seconds. No woman is meeting you in a strange car park at night if they have common sense. These are dating rules for the people with common sense. Do not meet a man in a car park in the dead of night, get into his car and go anywhere with him. Don't bring a man back to your flat on the first night. Don't let him know where you live, because if shit hits the fan and he's a psycho or a crazy person, or a serial killer, the one thing you don't want them to know is where you live. You can block somebody on a phone, but once they know where you live, you're kind of stuck. And this goes for men and women. You can take either of these dating things and switch them. Men shouldn't be getting into women's cars because, like I said, that other person had been sticking a gun to their head and stealing money from them. It's dangerous. Car parks, nighttime, they do not go hand in hand with meeting a woman or a man in the dead of night. I just don't stand by it. And I don't know why Eli would even suggest that. If his girlfriend was crazy enough to go to a car park at night, all I can say is she's just lucky enough that he wasn't a serial killer, a rapist, a mugger, or a murderer. Because it happens all the time. And that's not just to people in America, that's all over. You have to put your safety first. Meeting a guy may be the idea of your dreams, but it can also be incredibly dangerous as well. So you have to think sensibly. Please, if you are a woman or a man out there and you want to meet a person, take them to a bar or a restaurant. Agree to pay separate bills if you don't want to spend money on each other. I can get that. Try not to have sex on the first night because personally, I think it's a bit tacky. But just try and be sensible. Always have a way home. Don't walk. Never tell the guy where you live on a first date. Always meet them at the place. Don't have them pick you up. That's my personal preference, for them not to know where I live straight away. Giving up phone numbers and that, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's easy to block somebody or change your number. But the whole idea that if a woman doesn't give you her phone number, she's not that interested. The man didn't give her his number either. Let me know what you think of this. I think his dating tips are dangerous and just crazy. And I'm sure everybody in this is going to comment down below and say, look, you're exactly right. He's a nut job. These are dangerous tips. They're totally wrong. And the only people that would be doing these are crazy people that literally, are just off their rockers. So let me know down below your most important dating tips that you would suggest on a first date. Eli, if you're watching this, you are a nut job. Your tips are dangerous. Any woman that meets a guy in a parking lot in the dead of night and gets into his car has a death wish. She just does. It's stupid. I'm sorry, but I'm never going to believe that that's safe. And I will see you all very soon for another video. Comment down below, like I said, your tips and advice for a first date. Give it a big thumbs up. Support the channel if you want to help the channel out. A PayPal is the way to go, or a super chat, or a super thanks. And I will see you some more for some critiquing of Coach Eli, because I know you miss me, Eli. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.